Hi again. I hope the previous five commandments, if you will, were of help and help you understand, dig deeper into yourselves. Right? Let's go to the next five. All right. So the first one being categorize yourself. All right. So out of the three levels of categories, you might want to look at where you stand. You either are a novice in the current passion and skills that you exist with. Either you're an expert already who's delivering these services and doing a good job and people are giving the right kind of feedback to you. And the third one, where you already are a master and pioneer, right? In your particular field, right? But however, you might be here for this course for how to scale it up. Now, having said that, once you categorize yourself, it will become easier for you to understand where do you want to go from here. Okay, because if you're not categorized, you will not know what your starting point is, right? But don't worry, we have a system and we have a framework which will help you understand where you can categorize yourself, right? Number one. Number two is, even if you know where you stand in these three categories, you can use a system for verifying it again, right? So that at least the entire RISE system, you can choose what elements you want to pick from here and start running with it. Okay, let's go to the second one. So the ecosystem is the digital world, right? Now, the digital world, as you know, comprises of various digital elements right now. Right? You can't even describe it. It requires a whole course in itself, not even a lecture, right? But an ecosystem is what this imbibes with, and it should be interesting for you because you will have to create your own ecosystem to run your systems and your operations and your processes, right? Now, to build an ecosystem and create an ecosystem or even maintain your current systems, you require partners, you require operating systems, which would mean your machines or your platform for web activities, your mobile phones for running your respective applications, if you will, your suppliers, your customers also at the same time, right? These are all your ecosystems that you take help, where you give to and take from, right? So that's the ecosystem. In the digital world, if I have to categorize a few, they are on the screen. Namely, you need to have a website. There is a whole learning management system, because part of digital activity is always learning for either your audiences, your customers, for whatever product you create, or even a digital asset you create out there, or even a course that you make out there, right? So they require learning management systems. There's a communication system, right? Your internets, your phones, your VoIPs, the world out there, right? All sorts of communication, social media, the works. Then there is a sales system, right? Your typical CRM, if you will, or a customer experience systems, and so on and so forth, right? So all this culminates into a sales system. These would also, incidentally, for people who might not know, right? You have a backend system which creates your databases or maintains a database for serving a front end, which could be something which is visual to maybe your customers, your manufacturers, your other third-party suppliers, and so on and so forth, or the experience of a customer who's visiting your website itself, right? So there's a whole sales system that comes into play, right? Hence you create a CRM, hence you create a customer experience kind of a system for yourself. Then there's a community building activity, which is again through certain platforms. You use social media for that, and so on and so forth, right? These communities serve, or even a bunch of your customers themselves is a community that you keep on serving to. So that's your community, right? And in the digital world, it's become larger because of social media and then the influence economy, which we discussed about earlier, and so on and so forth. So that is a necessity here. Then there's a payment system, right? Your customer should know how to pay for the service or the goods that you're offering. So that is again automated in the digital world, and it's completely digitalized all over the world now, right? Example, you can sit in India and transfer money between US and Canada and vice versa, and do the needful by not even showing your face. Only mobile phones or your websites, right? So the payment system has come a long way, and that's what is required again for creating ecosystem, because that's how you get paid. Then the larger topic is automation, integration, right? All this has come to play because pure play automation has come in the hands of the user or people like you and me. Integrations have come to that level as well. So you can work with various platform systems to integrate them and further automate your systems of operations, right? So this formulates an ecosystem of a digital world, right? And most of this will be detailed out in when we build a system through, right, for your digital asset, and that will help you create an ecosystem. So, and there's a whole discussion around automation integration in the subsequent topics when I think we go to the system, to RISE 3, and parts of it are discussion system 2 and RISE 2 as well. Okay, let's go to the third one, delivering expertise, right? So you deliver expertise in 5 ways. One is you have somebody who's a better expert than you to deliver a certain kind of service for you, right? A typical scenario would be you might be a software developer, right? But in the software development world, you will know so much, right? You might know maybe 5 programming languages out there. But suppose a customer wants an Active or a React or one of those application software to be created on that platform, right? Then you will get another expert to deliver it for you, who is an expert in that particular field. So that's a typical example of a do it for you. Now do it with you, right? Now what we took, the first example was maybe you take a contractor who does a bit, goes away because that's not your regular work, right? When you do it with you, is something that you do on a regular basis. For example, you create a website for yourself. It's an e-commerce website, right? You require somebody who's a database expert who keeps on kind of maintaining databases for your customers or managing it through or creating new ones and so on and so forth, and into different database kinds out there, right? SQL or an Oracle database or SAP or whatever that system is. Now, you know some part and you don't know some part. So don't know that some part is where you get somebody else who's an employee, who is a better expert, who works with you to create a system that you want, right? Be a restaurant, be a same thing, right? You're a cook, you require a waiter, you require somebody at the desk, all the front ends and so forth, okay? Then there is one-to-one coaching, right? In the world where you are a coach, or you are producing a system of learning where you are providing the facility of taking somebody through to learn a process or a system or an activity that you are teaching them, and you work with them to a point where they come to a system or a level where they're completely on their own, is where one-to-one coaching comes into existence, right? A group coaching does the same purpose, but just that it's not one-to-one, you have one-to-many, right? And then there's a digital ecosystem where you automate this process and let the world learn from you, and get to a point where coaching is also automated to an extent it is, but that ecosystem runs the entire system for you. For example, the learning management system, right? Coaching and consulting and such is built into that ecosystem. That's our attempt here as well. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sorry about that. We have pillars to rise, right? We have 4 pillars to rise. You saw that in the triangle diagram earlier, and we'll go through it again in the subsequent ones. It starts with passion, right? We discussed that passion has become a nomenclature out there. It's been used and abused though, right? But it's an important element. So the passion comprises of knowledge, purpose, skill, and desire, right? We discussed this a little bit, right? It is what you know, right? What you want to use that knowing for, that's your purpose, the mission that we talked about, right? The skills you imbibe in delivering it in order to get response for, that's a skill, right? And the desire, right? Now you might have all this, but you are good with what you have, but you don't have the desire or urge to run with it, right? We talked about mission, we talked about skills, we talked about knowledge, But if there's no urge to kind of serve it to the larger and have a larger purpose out there, right? That is your desire from within. This will all fall short. So the foundational requirement, at least for the RISE program, is all this four working in synergy. Okay? So remember that this becomes your fundamentals. One of the first fundamentals is your knowledge, your purpose, your skill, desire, education, the processes, the whole way of doing things, and the experience of not doing some things is where we come in. We provide you those, right, to make you the path of success. Then there is a foundational requirement, right, which is creating your goals. Because if you have a passion which comprises all those four elements, then there's a foundation which requires to make that happen for reality. It is your goals. You have to have a mindset. You have to cultivate a habit of delivering this, and then the activities that you perform to deliver this. You get it? Right? And this is what we will dwell upon deeper into the next two lectures as well. Right? So please pay attention to this and get into the mode. So then, what is the Rise Up model, as we've been discussing through right now? Okay? We will do a deeper dive when I show you the next diagram. But the larger purpose, as I mentioned in the overview, is it is to make you live, to strive, and then thrive at the topmost level for the goals that you want to reach. Okay? This will go through the 6 RISE steps, which is we will do the result planning. This is typically the practical outcome is a business plan that will come out for your digital asset. We will create your digital asset, that is innovate and create. The digital asset that is created, right, should be unique in its own way and should be able to find its own niche to go about using it constructively for the audience that you have to serve. Right? Then we'll help you work towards sales and marketing by creating a system, an ecosystem that we talked about, to automatically sell it for you, right? At the same time, the effort that you put in, right? Thinking a sale, putting a sales hat and putting a marketing hat at the same time to ensure this happens. Again, you sell every day of your life. When you put sales and marketing as a service for your respective audience that you're looking for, you might get away from the sales word if you don't like it, right? Some people love it. I love it, right? But look at it as a service that you're performing and you're getting paid for because you have created something that is a need out there for that audience, just that you don't know how to push it through. That is where the service comes in, right? Then we go to earnings management. I told you by this time, when you'll reach the level 3, you will be in a position to manage your wealth, right? And we help you through money spinning formula to help you compound your wealth to an extent which can pass on, and it can go to the extent that you want, right? And how much of effort and how much of time that you want to put in. Some of them are satisfied with the levels we know, right? Something like, but it really depends on where you want to go with it and pass it on to your generation. Somebody wants to pass it to generations. You create portfolios for generations, and passing on as a legacy. So that's one of the things that you go through, and then whatever you have known up till now, up to your point of stability and striving, then you get into mode of thriving, which is you start utilizing your knowledge, your skill, your passion. You learned how to go about scaling it and so on and so forth, right? And managing with the wealth that you create. You start now diversifying, right? And multiplying your efforts in the other directions as well, where largely we teach you how about consulting, right? Because now you're getting into consultative mode at a corporate level. When I say corporate level, because you're institutionalizing it now, right? So that, and then once you're very comfortable doing that, that's when you start innovating in your particular field to have unique ones that nobody else around you has done, which keeps you in the mode of a blue ocean, as they call it, where you have no competition, and then you become a pioneer in your field, and you're known for that. So that is the level of monk and the level of membership that we even adhere and want some people to get to be part of soon. Okay, let's get deeper into it now.